It is absolutely not an exaggeration when I say that I hate rust. And the rust that I hate more than any other rust is that rust which occurs on anything precision. A gorgeous 246 block must not be allowed to rust with its beautiful hardened mutually orthogonal faces. A dimple die, such a simple, straightforward thing of beauty which turns anything made of sheet metal into racing, must not be allowed to rust. Rust on a precision square, such an abomination. Ditto rust on a precision ground arbor or MT 2 to 3 adapter kind of thing, a center, whatever, must not be allowed to rust. So, given that these things cannot be painted by virtue of how they must be used, what are we going to do to stop them rusting? This is part 3 of my 3-part series on busting rust. In part 1, I talked about going from something that looks like this to something that looks a lot more like that. Like, how do you remove rust so that you can get a part amenable to surface treatment and longer life in service and things of that nature. In part 2, I talked about paint-like protection that uses mad chemical voodoo to extend the in-service life of things you repair or things you fabricate. And I'll link to both of those parts in the description, which leaves us here at part 3, which is things that can't be painted but which must also be protected. And I'm partnering here with CRC and Auto1. CRC because they've got the engineering pedigree, their reputation speaks for itself, they're good at this stuff, they've got products that target just about anything. And Auto1 because you can get a red hot discount right now between the 1st of August and the 15th of August 2025 at midnight, 25% off, which is unprecedented for CRC products. The links and details to that discount will be in the description. You are nuts if you do not take advantage of this, because paying the full freight or 25% off, would you like some thinking music to figure out what's better? Anywho, rust protection of components of this nature is probably the simplest topic to date, okay? And I recommend only 2 products, CRC Long Life and CRC Soft Seal. And the difference between them is also dead simple. If you want long-term protection of something that you're going to mothball, Soft Seal. I don't use my dimple dies that often, which is why I soft seal them. It's quite liquid when it goes on, but it's kind of tacky now. It feels a bit tack, you know what I mean? And also these 246 blocks, which I love and which sit out in the workshop exposed all the time, and which come in so handy from time to time fabricating stuff as big shims on the welding table. And don't tell a proper machinist I said that, but hey. Soft Seal is great for that because it's a waxy product that doesn't craze and doesn't crack, and it's not unlike, you know, when you get a new machine, like a new drill press or a new lathe or a new milling machine or something of that nature, and it comes coated in that really waxy, yellow, greasy stuff ex-factory. Soft Seal is not unlike that, although it doesn't smell like sweet embrace of Satan. Unlike every machine tool I've ever purchased. You take the plastic off and it's like, gateway to hell, here we come kind of thing. This is nothing. It smells quite nice, actually. I'm not sure it deserves its own cologne, but it's not sweet embrace of Satan either. So I got all of my unused MT adapters and, you know, drill arbors and live centers that aren't in service right at the moment. And I put them all in one of those Tupperware containers. My wife went out the other day. Number 6 was out doing whatever, coffee with friends. So I went up to the kitchen and thought, what's going to work? Pro tip, if they ever ask about the diminishment of the Tupperware resources, just up there, you say, Tupperware? Make them think they're losing their mind. It's fine, dude. It's all in jest. Don't do that. Don't gaslight your wife. Come on. Whereas for these applications where you need the thing you're using to remain liquid and also have some lubricity about them, Long Life is pretty much the product for you because it's a anti-rust lubricant. In fact, that's written on the can. So here's the thing. I got so many things in this workshop that cannot be painted but which demand corrosion protection. And the things that I mothball, I soft seal, and the other stuff which is exposed and out here all the time but used more frequently and can't really deal with that tacky surface, such as this cast iron table that I'm sitting at right now, I use the Long Life for that. And I do that for a couple of reasons, one of which is it's also a lubricant. So it's just right for things like the drill press table and the column, right? Because I don't want, in particular, the column getting tacky because I need to keep adjusting the Z height of the table. And also, this workbench here, cast iron is quite porous. And the problem with that is that it retains atmospheric moisture. And from time to time, it just flashes. Now, I treated this about a week ago now. So I took everything off it and then I sprayed it with Long Life and I got into it with a Scotch-Brite scourer. And it came off pretty filthy because it was covered in flash rust. And we got it back to not a bare metal surface, but a sort of long-term corroded surface, right? And then I wiped all of that crap off and went again with the Long Life, left it there for a bit and wiped it off with a clean rag. And the thing about Long Life is it leaves a sort of very thin film even if you wipe it off. So this bench and the steel fabrication bench just over there, it's Long Life for them. It's Long Life for the milling machine table and column and basically anything that needs lubrication and corrosion protection. But anything I want to mothball or just don't use very often, but kind of handy to unbox it again in a few months' time and just not be staring at a rusty mess, then Soft Seal is really good for that. Yeah, for example, my masonry tools, trowels and bullnose radius, whatever you call that thing for concreting to give you the edge around the formwork, those tools soft seal all day long. But things like pliers and other tools, like it just does my head in when my Knipex pliers are even a little bit rusty. I'm OCD like that. So I'd much rather see them drowning in Long Life than flashing over in between my opportunities to use them. One of the paradoxes, for me at least, having a fat cave like this is it's really functional and I love being in here doing stuff, but it's also my workplace because here I am talking to you in that context, and I spend most of my time in here doing this and not as much as I'd like, making noise kind of thing. The easiest distinction to make here is to divide things of this nature into two categories. The first being things that you don't use very often, which are essentially mothballed in between those infrequent times that you need them, and things that you need on hand which you use reasonably frequently, like your most used hand tools, for example. Okay, Soft Seal for the first category of mothballed items and Long Life for those things that you need on hand. That makes real sense. Another really good use for Long Life is when you're pulling something apart and you might have it sitting there apart. Like, let's say you need to rebuild the quill on a drill press or the gearbox on a lathe or a diff or whatever. It doesn't really matter. Just something complex and mechanical that comes apart. And you might have it on the bench or in a crate waiting for replacement parts. And that could be a few weeks, right? A judicious application of Long Life could save a world of anguish 3 weeks down the track when the humidity and air get to whatever is a part, is what I'm saying. Also pretty good for weapons. My understanding of Long Life is that it meets or exceeds all of the US military's standards for weapons storage and applications of that nature, so that's worth remembering if you're a shooter. And it also can't hurt around collets and collet blocks and chucks and other work-holding mechanisms of that nature, vices and all of this kind of stuff that really just look terrible when they start to flash rust and also won't function properly if you let it get out of control. I'll put links to Long Life and Soft Seal in the description. Don't forget, 25% off both these products at Auto1 between the 1st of August and the 15th at midnight, year of our Lord 2025, for complete disambiguation. Thank you very much for watching this series. Links to videos 1 and 2 on rust busting also in the description. I'll catch you on the next one.